Last year, Cyber Monday sales hit an all-time high of well over $12 billion. That's almost the same total revenue for the NBA's entire 2023-2024 season. And yet, this sales event has no crowds on the street, no lineups, and no real connection to our day-to-day lives. In fact, unless you were waiting for a specific item to go on sale, you probably barely knew that it was going on. So how is it possible that Cyber Monday can be one of the most important consumer spending days of the year and at the same time literally just be another Monday? Today's video is sponsored by Delete Me. So last year we made a video about Black Friday, which is literally famous for the insane consumer behavior that surrounds it. In my opinion, it was a pretty good video. The viral videos around Black Friday were like the physical manifestation of how our consumer world has been taken over by our reptilian brains, and a peek into what happens when we are culturally taught that we are what we buy. But as we talked about in that video, which is linked down in the description, of course, the mayhem of Black Fridays of the past are over, and today a much more controlled version has taken its place, this time without the mayhem or door crasher sales that made the day so infamous in the first place. Today's Black Friday is like if the past Black Friday had their prescription doubled. They're in physical form, but with none of the spark or energy that made it truly crazy and unique. And if Black Friday is dumbed down, then Cyber Monday has had a full-blown lobotomy. Of course, we have to mention, though, that these 2 days are sort of linked to each other. But Cyber Monday is only 20 years old compared to its much more notorious cousin. And in many ways, Cyber Monday was kind of created to absorb some of that Black Friday energy, to direct shoppers away from the physical lineups at stores and create a calm and more casual shopping experience for shoppers, yes, but mostly for the businesses. Now, every Monday after Thanksgiving, you can shop Cyber Monday deals across hundreds of online stores, and these deals are touted as some of the best of the year, minus the need to line up outside of a Best Buy at 6 a.m., which honestly seems like kind of a win-win, right? Until you realize what we've lost along the way. All right, so first you gotta understand that while Cyber Monday was in some ways created to help neutralize a shopping event that was historically potentially lethal, it was actually about wringing out those last dollars from the wallets of those pent-up shoppers. Surprise, surprise. Because see, back in the early days, Black Friday brought tons of revenue to in-person stores, and online shopping platforms felt left out of the revenue boost that was guaranteed for brick and mortar stores. This is basically the flip of what has happened today. They wanted to get people shopping online, but there wasn't a catchy term like Black Friday to describe it. That is until National Retail Federation exec Ellen Davis penned the term Cyber Monday. So the idea was that the Monday after Thanksgiving, Americans would be full in their belly and maybe left with a few dollars in their wallets. With their new high-speed internet connection, they might just do a little bit of browsing to see if they could find the deal that slipped by in the stores. And it worked. Now, this might all sound a little bit obvious or weird to you, but you gotta understand that the first Cyber Monday was in 2005, which is crazy to kind of think about because you have to realize that this was like an innovation. Online shopping was a whole new frontier, a whole new way to get people to buy stuff that we'd never had before. Cyber Monday's popularity only increased when the 2008 Great Recession hit. During this time, retailers knew that the financial crisis was bad and intentionally resorted significant discounting during the holiday season to induce consumer spending, timing most of it to begin on Cyber Monday. Then the same thing happened in 2020 when the pandemic rolled around, and Cyber Monday peaked in a whole new way.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
If there was anybody left under those metaphorical rocks who just didn't want to online shop for whatever reason, now they were forced to. And this set off a feedback loop that we are still just coming to understand today. And with the rise of online shopping, you might be opening yourself up to data brokers, who collect a huge amount of data, mainly from third-party scripts and cookies on websites, who then sell it to anyone who's willing to pay for it. Now, you can spend hours scouring the internet to retrieve your personal information from literally hundreds of these sites, or you can let Delete Me, our sponsor today, do that work for you. They've got international plans, so Canadians like us are covered. And did you know that when somebody buys your data, they can actually see information about your relatives too? I know that I personally feel better knowing that they offer family plans so that me and my loved ones are all a little bit more protected. You can get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/future20 and use the code future20 at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/future20, code future20. A huge thank you to Delete Me for sponsoring today's video. Now today, if you look at the numbers, Cyber Monday sales go kinda crazy. Over the last 10 years, we have seen a steadily increasing revenue. But while this might seem like an indication of its success as a shopping holiday, it's more of an indication of how online shopping has changed the way that we buy stuff in general. See, the challenge with an online shopping holiday rather than an in-person one is that the commitment is a lot harder to get from people sitting in their living rooms, rather than if they're just lined up outside of your store, right? Because for most people, the experience of Cyber Monday is just another day scrolling through endless ads and sales and advertisements online. Things have changed a lot since 2005, right? And now we all kind of buy stuff online all the time. Over 80% of millennials shop online at least once a month, and over 30% of the world's entire population consider themselves online shoppers. So those early days of Cyber Monday deals were genuinely impressive, right? It was a new idea, new concept. But nearly 20 years later, it's just another sale. Basically, every second that we are online shopping today, there are targeted ads specifically to us. We have influencers telling us to use their discount codes and limited time offers on almost every website that we visit. So not only are we just able to categorize Cyber Monday sales into the same bin as all the other sales that we see on a daily basis, but the sales themselves are actually getting worse. Those door crasher 80, 90% off deals just don't exist anymore. Our 50% off deals are hard to find, and your standard 40 is now more like a 20 or a measly 10. Now, this is in part because the pandemic increased online retail competition like crazy, and also because of that darn inflation that we keep hearing about, but as well because of a little discussed phenomenon that not many people have heard about. See, today's algorithms prioritize and feature discounted products more than standard priced items. So sellers end up offering tiny little discounts just so that they can appear at the top of search results. Online sales today aren't necessarily there to get you to buy that specific thing at that moment, but to increase visibility and drive traffic. This is such a common thing now that we have a sales term for it: saleflation. You might have seen an item that was listed as being on sale when in fact it was just the same price as it was a year ago. What this means is that there is a ton more sales now, but that none of them are very good. And this is fundamentally why Cyber Monday is literally less relevant than ever from just like a mathematical standpoint. On top of this, we have apps and browser extensions like Honey that are literally existing there to give you discounts all the time while you are online shopping. And then, in my opinion, they made the whole situation way worse by watering down the event by adding even more days to it. For most retailers, it's no longer Cyber Monday, but the Cyber 5 or Cyber Week. Some retailers are even listing deals the week before Cyber Monday. So now you can get these deals for pretty well 2 weeks in a row. And at this point, is there anything left? Like, if every single day of the year is a sale, is anything ever not on sale? And is it even on sale at that point? When it gets to this point, you're almost like nostalgic for the good old days of Black Friday, you know, where everybody, young and old, would line up outside of a Best Buy to get trampled for a super cheap TV, you know? Now, obviously, I'm kind of joking here, but in some ways, Black Friday used to be an occasion that people looked forward to. Like, the bar is so low now that, like, shopping Black Friday deals was like a nice form of community. And I think that this online shopping disassociation thing is most obvious when it comes to gifting. Cyber Monday and Black Friday were built as a way for those prepared shoppers to buy gifts for the holidays, right? But more than ever, the gifts bought in this way mean less and less. Imagine your mom buys you a hat from a football game that you went together, in spring break. I don't know anything about football. Maybe they don't even play football during spring break, but whatever, you get the point. That hat that you bought together was from a shared experience, and so there's meaning imbued into it. But nowadays, it's so much easier for your mom or some relative or whatever to log on to Temu and buy you another hat for way cheaper because it happened to be on sale. And hey, maybe it's even kind of funny looking, right? And yeah, maybe it is funny, or maybe it is in the color you like. Or maybe she's gonna end up with a weird Temu version that's gonna fall apart before you even put it on your head. But even more importantly than that, even if it wasn't a terrible Temu ripoff, it lacks the personal connection that you get from an in-person purchase connected to a shared experience. Online shopping has meant that we buy things impulsively without much attachment to what we want anymore. It's literally just a surface level interaction of finding something cheap and clicking pay now. No interacting with the associates in the store, no comparing the feel of the fabrics or the vibrancies of the colors or anything. It is literally a meaningless digital transaction, which usually means to a meaningless connection to that product, which usually means that it gets thrown out in a couple of weeks' time. And Cyber Monday has the perfect timing to play right into this kind of impulsive shopping, right? Christmas is coming down the road and you don't know what to get for your dad because it's always hard to shop for dad. So you go on Amazon and what do you know? There's a pack of socks for 20% off. And what dad doesn't love a fresh pair of socks, right? Okay, that's not a great example because I'll always appreciate a fresh pack of socks, but you get what I mean. As consumers, our lives are so stressful, so busy and complicated that we just want something to be easy. We no longer have the time to think if there's a more meaningful gift or that we can buy for somebody when it is just so much easier to find one of the millions of options that are online at our fingertips at a moment's notice. And you know what? Proof is in the pudding. The numbers say that it works. And this is what I think is so surprising about how Cyber Monday's success compares to other shopping events throughout the year, even though it is just another sale in a sea of endless sales. Let me give you an example. We made a whole video about the pumpkin spice latte craze, right? You can go and watch it after you're done here. But the cultural underpinning of that trend was instrumental to its success. It is connected to a nostalgic feeling. The flavors and the colors are very specific to that time of year. And the whole thing comes and goes within a limited window of time to encourage people to buy while they have the chance. And if you think about Father's Day, Mother's Day, Valentine's, Easter, and of course Christmas, there is a root there still, right? If you dig down deep enough, there is a reason for the consumption that we're all participating with. But Cyber Monday, or Cyber Week, or whatever it's called now, is more like a representation of how our digital world has flattened our cultural experience into just baseline consumerism. And I think in some way it's more of a representation of a new normal rather than an event or a landmark of any kind. Times are tough right now, and saving time and money is one of the only ways that we feel that we can easily relieve some of that pressure when the world feels as uncertain and as stressful as it does. Cyber Monday is kind of like a corporation's wet dream. There's no need to manufacture or construct some sort of false intimacy with the buyer in order to get the sale. You just have to exist in their routines and be available when they're ready to add to cart. A huge thank you for watching today's video. If you got all the way to the end, we love you. Don't buy stuff on Cyber Monday. Just binge our content instead. It's way more affordable. Subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next one.